G'day guys, welcome back to the Fon Supercoach YouTube channel. Today we are doing the final team reveal / update for the 2026 off-season. Now that round 0 has been completed, we have all the information we're going to get, barring some selection news and random little bits and pieces during the week. So yeah, I will get into it momentarily. Firstly, I just wanted to say a couple of quick housekeeping things. Firstly, we have just ticked over 300 subscribers, so thank you very much everyone for the support. It is much appreciated and really excited to get into the season. And secondly, I have just fixed my microphone, so hopefully the sound quality is a little bit better this video. Let's get into it. Firstly, I will say my structure is a little bit different to a lot of players. I am very mid-pricer heavy. I will discuss this at the end. And secondly, I will discuss the players that I am not picking at the end of the video as well. So we're going to do the classic D1 to flex. So first up, we have D1. Jack Sinclair has not moved from my side all preseason. Very comfortable with the role. It is as expected from day dot. So very happy to select him at D1. D2, I have Lockie Whitfield. So would have liked to maybe see a touch more on Saturday, but he was quite good. Still racks up the ball. I'm not concerned about either like Joe Fonte affecting him. I'm not really concerned about tags because I believe they should all go to Finn Callahan. So yeah, I really like Whitfield and he has a great opening run to start the season. At D3, I have Connor Rozee, another player that hasn't moved from my side all preseason. Looks like he's going to have a good role. With the early fixture, I don't mind if he plays a little bit more midfield time at the start of the season because the matchups are really easy and he'll score well in either role. So yeah, really happy to select Connor Rozee at D3. At D4, we have Caleb Windsor, one of my Melbourne boys. Really love the role. I've been listening to all of the Melbourne stuff throughout the preseason. He's going to have a high CBA role, probably the second most behind Steele, is my understanding. And they're looking to give him the ball at all opportunities. I was listening to an interview with Gary Lyon and Stephen King today, and King was saying how much Windsor reminded him of Max Holmes and how much they want to get him the ball. So really positive things to be saying about Caleb Windsor, and he is locked into my side. At D5, we get into some rookies. So Josh Lindsay is the first one. I think he's the best kick on the West Coast side, so I think he will get enough football to score well. He's also taking kick-ins, which is always good. Next, I have Lockie Jakes, who was excellent in opening round, and now I'm quite confident in his job security and his scoring power, so he's going to be on field at D6 for me. And yeah, looking forward to seeing him make bulk cash. I have Jai Sarong at D7. Yeah, he was solid in his game. The role isn't ideal, but I don't really mind a wing role for these rookie price players. Generally, they are able to score enough in that role, particularly the ones that have been in the system for a while. And last but not least, in defense, we have Michael Selwood, who's come into the team mostly based on this round 0 score. This is not a pick I am overly keen on. I will say, even if Dirksen is selected on Wednesday night, I won't pick just because I am concerned about the job security. I don't know what it's going to look like. I would much rather correct into Dirksen as required than actually start him. So yeah, going to start Michael Selwood here. I think the job security is fine. I don't believe the Dogs have anyone. Oh, I guess actually Sanders could affect Jake's and Selwood's selection. So if Selwood isn't selected for whatever reason, I will obviously have to find another option. I have a little bit of flexibility in the midfield, so I'm not overly concerned about this. All right, moving into the midfield. Another player who has not moved from my side all preseason is Zach Butters. Scary opening fixture to fade. One less Geelong matchup this year, so in theory, one less tag. No-brainer, in my opinion. I have Nick Dacos at M2. Did like what I saw trying to evade the tag. He was moved around a little bit. It wasn't a hard tag, but he was limited at stoppage. I think his running capacity and power is too much for a lot of these guys to be able to tag him throughout the whole game. So really happy with Nick Dacos. I think this is the year that the tags start having less effect on him. So want to lock him into my side. M3, a little bit of an unusual one. I have Jordan Dawson. So prior to last night's game, I was very confident with this pick. However, he has Collingwood round 1, and I do think there is some risk of a Perryman tag. If that does eventuate, I will likely look to move Dawson to someone else. The one that I have in mind is Ed Richards, although I would like to avoid that because of the bye. Other options I have are like Caleb Sarong. I could go to Jordan Clark. Other than that, because of all the buys, there's not much flexibility here. So I do like Dawson. I really hope he isn't tagged next week. But yeah, he is in my side for now. I have Errol Goulden at M4. Loved what I saw on the weekend. I think Cox will have worked out that this guy needs to be in the middle, in the guts as much as possible, because he is their prime mover. And then at M5, I've got Hayden Young, another one who hasn't moved from my side all preseason. To be honest, I don't think Young is must pick, but I do think he has the highest scoring potential of the Fremantle type premiums. Yes, I actually believe that Young has higher scoring potential than Brayshaw, Sarong, and Clark. But we will see. That may not eventuate. So yeah. And then I have Darcy Parish. Didn't love what I saw in the practice games, but he was likely taking it easy. Not really concerned about this pick at all. M7, I have Tanner Bruhn, who looked excellent in opening round, and the role looked fantastic, and he was really good at it. The ball usage on the outside and the running ability has clearly improved since the last time I saw Tanner Bruhn play. So I'm very happy to lock him in this role. Think he can probably do 90, which is a massive win at 276k. Last but not least, Jagger Smith. No-brainer. Not even worth discussing Smith. Had a lot of disposals for not much score, but that game was quite weird, and there are a lot of... I think a lot of the players were scoring heavily AFL fantasy-wise, which reduced the amount of Supercoach points to go around, because obviously Supercoach scoring is fixed to 3,300 per match. On the bench, I have Samuel Grill, who I did like what I saw in the preseason games. I'm a little bit concerned about the ability to accumulate in the real stuff when Short and Banks and all those guys are rolling back through there, Vlosten. But he is very easy to get out of if required. I have Dyson Sharp at M10. Again, don't love the role for Sharp, but I think he's going to get selected, and I think he'll do enough at 150k. He certainly knows how to find the football, which is the main thing for the guys priced similarly. And then on the bench, I don't have Blamiers because I'm concerned about, I'm concerned about selection. So I have Jack Carroll for now, but if Blamiers is selected, I will probably look to go there over Carroll. I'm pretty confident in that one. I thought Blamiers looked good. I'm not sure about Carroll's role. The Pies allowed the Saints to chip the ball around a lot, so I don't think this type of scoring is going to continue, but we shall see. He was good enough, so he should hold his job. And then I guess I should do the flex now as well. So I have Xavier Lindsay at the flex. This has not changed since my last video. Very, very happy to select Xavier Lindsay. He is a pod, 2% owned. Really like the role playing halfback in this Melbourne side. Should get enough footy to get to 400k at least, which I will view as a tick. All right, into the rucks. R1, Tim English. I do think that ruck scoring is going to be down at the start of the season. I think particularly guys... Cherry's the main one I'm concerned about. He will obviously still dominate the around-the-ground contests, but he seems to have been disarmed at centre bounce. And I am also concerned about North's midfield at centre bounce because they seem to be a little bit slow. We'll see how that eventuates. But yeah, I have English because I like his run. I like his midfielders, and I like his ability to get involved in transition. I do also think that English is going to really stretch some ruckman this season, getting up the ground. He seems to be very fit, and I think he's going to hit the scoreboard a lot more than the other rucks. So big on Tim English. Lockie McAndrew at R2. Got to get this guy on field, in my opinion. If he does get dropped, we have 4 weeks of best 18 to figure it out. So I'm not concerned about this at all. And then I have Zane Zakastelski at R3. Come from the clouds. But with Harris Andrews' suspension and Gardner's suspension, I do think he'll actually play more than just a handful of games. If Harris Andrews' suspension goes down to 2 or 1 week, I might look elsewhere. I'm not sure. But the basis for that, by the way, is that Zach Kostelski's mainly trained defense in the preseason, so he should, in theory, just slide back into key defense for a couple games. Worst case, he plays a couple games, gets one price rise. I do think that he's likely to play again when Fort or Draper needs some sort of management throughout the year. Don't know how often that'll be, though. So a little bit concerned about this pick, but he's there for now. There are other options that I will discuss later as well. All right, into the forward line. Harry Sheezel, F1, hasn't moved for the whole preseason. Just a no-brainer in my opinion. I think there's some value baked into this price. Petrarca at F2, absolute no-brainer. Looks unbelievably good, as good as he ever has, I would say. He's a no-brainer in our forward line, in my opinion. F3, I have Sam Flanders. Again, hasn't moved from my side. I think his ownership has actually dropped, but I'm not worried about this 77. He could not get involved at the start of the game and had a lot of outside stuff, no tackles, that sort of thing. So I'm not worried about Flanders. I think he will still make money at the very least. Whether or not he's keeper, who knows? I think he will be, but I'm not concerned about this pick at all. All right, and then a new selection in the side is Connor Butterick. Was really impressed with Butterick's decision-making and ball use in the late stages of that game against Brisbane. He was instrumental to them getting over the line, so I think he's going to have the ball use that he needs to score well. If Selwood is dropped, I will be nervous about this pick, but at least there is a 105 in the price cycle, so he should make a lot of money for 1 week, worst case scenario. So Connor Butterick is in the side for now. And then we get into the rookies. So Mateus Filippo, 66 is likely the worst case scenario for Filippo, and he still makes 200k doing that. So really not concerned by that at all. And then I have Dev Rob as my last on-field option. Getting CBAs for West Coast in large numbers. Worst case, he plays wing or half forward and does a bit of tackling. Dev Rob is a good scorer in the VFL. Absolutely no concerns at all with this pick. M7, I have Todd Marshall. So looks to be playing key defense or third tall, user out of D50 for Port. He is a good ball user. I am concerned about his ability to defend. However, Port's early fixture is very, very, very easy. And I think they'll be able to rack up enough wins that his ability to defend won't matter until he has made enough cash. And then I have the round 0 rising star nom, Leonardo Lombard at F8. Was really impressed with him. Of the small forward rookies, I think he's the best at getting up the ground. Obviously, the early fixture is really good as well, so he should hit the scoreboard. So he's the one that I like for the small forward rookies. So that is the team that I am taking into opening round at this stage, into round 1. There are a couple things worth noting. So firstly, the overall structure. I am very low on rookies. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on field. I think most have 7 or... Hold on. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's 6 on field. Most have 7 or 8. My main reasoning for that is that I think a lot of the bench rookie options are quite poor. So even Selwood and Carroll, I'm not overly keen on. I'm concerned about their job security. So I've opted to go more mid-price to heavy because these guys should have the job security and the role to make the cash. In a lot of years, mid-prices have been very few and far between, whereas this year we have a lot of options, which is quite unusual. And I think there are a lot of people in the community who are more worried about the number of mid-prices rather than actually assessing them on their merit individually. So that's why I have gone very mid-price to heavy. There are a couple that I don't have that are popular. So the main one is Blackiston, who, let's actually just go like this. Let's filter by price. Oh, and McKercher. So I want to talk about these two. So Blackiston I'll start with. So why don't I have Lockie Blackiston? I just don't think he can score well enough. He's priced at 55. I think he's going to go maximum 70, to be honest. And also, if you look at this run, I do expect a good score against North and Port. But then Cherry, English, Gawn, Witts, Cameron, that's probably 4 of the hardest. Like, English typically hasn't been hard to score against, but I don't see Blackiston having a good go against English, if I'm being totally honest. So that's my concern with Blackiston. So gets the 2 decent matchups. Even if he gives you 80 here, you take that, obviously. But as all of a sudden, if he starts giving you 60s, he's not making any money. And then you're probably forced to burn a trade on him without making the cash. I think he's going to struggle to score 80s even in these games, based on what I've seen. Obviously gave TDK a bath for a quarter in that practice game, but virtually did not score after that. So that is my main concern with Blackiston, and I'm happy to fade based on that. The other mid-prices that I don't have, Colby McKercher. I got cold feet from McKercher a while ago. It was actually after the North Intra-Club, which probably sounds weird, but McKercher was getting really high up the ground and had no kick-ins. And those 2 factors have me very, very concerned about McKercher. Him getting higher up the ground wouldn't matter as much if North were a stronger side. I don't see North improving at all this year. I might be in the minority on that. But that's the main reason I don't like McKercher. He's too far up the ground and there are no kick-ins, both which I think he needs to score. Well, he needs to be closer to goal, his own goal, and getting kick-ins to score well enough to justify selecting in my eyes. So that's why I don't have him. Kadeem Coleman, didn't like what I saw over the last couple of weeks. Doesn't look fit enough to me. And I just don't see why Brisbane would persist with him when he's unfit, when the cavalry starts to come back. I think Ainsworth is a very strong chance to displace him even this week. So I'm not even sure he gets selected. Lawler is another popular mid-pricer that I don't have. I just don't see it happen. I think his CBA numbers have been very, very deceptive. He has been in the centre bounce and then going forward. Second year in the system, clearly talented, not denying that. But these second year breakouts are very unusual. I know I do have a second year breakout candidate in my own team, but he's playing a much easier role that he has proven scoring history in. So that's why I'm not big on Lawler. And then DeGoey, I don't know how many of these are even worth discussing, but DeGoey, McDonald, and Rochelle all sort of fall into the same category for mine, where DeGoey's the most appealing, but he had really low TOG and he had 3 goals fall in his lap and he still only scored a 90. I'm just not keen on this pick. The scoring history with a lot of midfield time also isn't indicative of this pick succeeding in my eyes. So that's why I am choosing to fade him. Reed, I just don't think West Coast are good enough yet. If he had forward status, though, I'd be very, very interested in this because I think he could go 90 plus and be a keeper in the forward line. And I'm not going to delve too much further into the rest of these because I don't think the role is going to be good. I guess Rochelle's probably worth touching on. I think when Rankin comes back, Rochelle's mid-clock is going to drop drastically. I don't think that Adelaide can play both of them in the same midfield. So one of those things has to give. I think Rochelle will go forward. There is a chance that Rankin just plays more forward and Rochelle keeps that role. In that case, Rochelle is probably a really good pick. I just don't have that read, so I'm not willing to make this pick. And then Finn O'Sullivan, second year breakout again, that I'm not really too keen on. Right, so that's the mid prices. Let's just do like general plays that I'm fading. The obvious one is Nazaya. Liam Reedy. This guy just, I don't know. I think Pitternet goes down at some point and he probably eventually makes money, but it's just a matter of when. I could select Reedy over Zach Stelsky come round 1 teams if ZZ is not selected. So I'm not sure how I will go with that one, but I would really prefer not to pick Reedy. He cannot score. And then Nazaya. Last night's game has no impact on my decision to start or fade Nazaya. It was interesting to see how much he did struggle with the tag. And obviously there will be some more, but he's every chance to give you a 180 against Melbourne, and that 60 or whatever he scored is essentially out of the system then. So yeah, I'm not too worried about Nazaya. I think if you were going to go there, you still go there. That's my opinion. Finn McRae, I don't think gets selected. Zeke Euland role isn't good enough. Blamise, I discussed. We will see if he's selected. Brody's not going to get picked. Dersma, don't like the role at the price. Farrow, I don't like because he can't accumulate. Luke Jackson, is not going to get enough ruck time to score well enough, in my opinion. Bont is still going to be a good pick, but too expensive with the buy for mine. Pickett, I think, is a little bit of a trap, which I don't love throwing that term out because I think it is quite divisive, but I think that Pickett is predominantly playing the centre bounces and then going forward, and the stuff that I've listened to Stephen King say suggests that as well. So that's why I don't have Keziah Pickett. He has been in my side at times, but I don't think the mid-time will eventuate. Cherry, I think, is going to be... Obviously, if Cherry goes massive on his very, very soft 8-week fixture at the start of the season, he's going to be a great pick. But I think he will not go as massive as he needs to justify selecting at 700k, which is why I'm fading. If you think he goes massive on all of those rucks, then you still pick. Nothing changes in that regard. Walsh is the one that I like the most that I don't have. To be honest, I thought he was exceptional against Sydney. Even with attention, he's going to go massive on Richmond. It's more, if I get Walsh instead of Dawson, A, I have 70k that I don't know what to do with, and B, I have another premium on the buys, which I'm trying to avoid. So that's the reason that I have Dawson instead of Walsh. But I do think Walsh has every chance to go 110 plus and be a top 10 or so mid. So I do think he's a really nice selection, just one that I can't fit in. Talked about Lawler. Gibcus is playing too much lockdown for mine, so that's why I haven't gone there. Josh Dacos is interesting, but I think there are a lot of people jumping on based on last night's game, and that was the ultimate matchup for Josh Dacos, where the Saints just let them chip the ball around in defense. So I'm not buying into Dacos. DeConing, I don't think the ruck split is good enough. Noah Anderson is going to absolutely cane me the first few weeks, but the Gold Coast buys are just absolutely dreadful, and I'd rather get access into the Gold Coast fixture through the forward line than I would through the midfield. So that's why I'm doing that. Grundy, just wanted one ruck premium because I am unsure about how the rucks are going to score. Same goes for Gawn. And then I think that pretty much covers them. I don't have any of the Freo players because I am concerned about their game plan, limiting their ability to score Supercoach points. It is really as simple as that for Fremantle. That may change, but I've seen nothing to suggest that it will change from the back half of last year when that proved to be true. So that's why I don't have any Fremantle premiums, even though their fixture and buy is excellent. So that is the team. I have gone through this quite briefly, but I think I've put out a lot of content about a lot of these picks, and none of the logic has really changed from my perspective throughout the preseason. So that's why the team hasn't changed too much, which is a little bit unusual for me, I find. Normally the team changes quite a lot. But yeah, that's where I've landed. Thank you guys for watching. I will be unable to make a video when teams come out on Thursday, but I will try and do some updates via Twitter. So if you want my intake or you want my insights on the team selections on Thursday, feel free to drop me a follow on Twitter. The link will be in the description. And yeah, really excited for the season to start. So best of luck for your teams, guys. I hope selection is kind to you. Let me know all the pods you're thinking of in the comments below. And I will see you likely at the end of round 1 for our first weekly review for the season. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.